my people, it be your boy, Babs TV. Just subscribe, man, just subscribe. Today, you see this man, where when they see him, don't talk something, where...
Hey friends, and well, let me be honest, probably before this video is over, some of you will consider me as an enemy. But I wanted to share a couple minutes about my thoughts, not only on the tragedies that we have been experiencing over these past months, and especially these last couple of days with the shootings of our black men, but what I'm coming to learn over my 23-year journey of being a white man, living and ministering amongst my black family here in several inner cities of Chicago. And I'm going to speak very black and white because, let's be honest, it's a black and white issue. I want to take you to the book of Exodus, chapter 1, and I wanted to share a little bit of what took place prior to the rise of Moses. When I read that, it talked about that the Pharaoh became concerned and very fearful that the Hebrew slaves were growing in number and in power. So in order to maintain their oppression, he put upon them great labor. He put upon the Hebrew slaves cruelty to keep them down. However, they still grew. And so he brought together some midwives, and he instructed them that when a Hebrew boy was born, kill him. Well, these midwives did not follow, and the Hebrew slaves continued to grow. Eventually, the Pharaoh became so hatred and towards those Hebrew slaves that he made a decree. He put out an order that male baby boy Hebrew slaves were to be killed by casting them into the Nile River. Let's look at America. We brought blacks into this country as slaves. We never intended them to be anything other than a slave. But they began to grow in number and in power, and eventually they fought their way to some freedom. So we became even more cruel, and to keep our black Americans down, we lynched. But yet they rose. So then we used the welfare system, the criminal justice system, to keep them down, to contain them, to destroy them. But yet they rose, and they're rising. Then we built prisons and jails to hold them. Yet they rose. And so now we are doing exactly what the Pharaoh did at the end, sending out a decree: kill them. So until we admit that when we wrote this Constitution that all men are created equal, that we never intended to include our black brothers and sisters, our nation may end up facing exactly what the Egyptians faced when they refused to let God's people go. So I'm going to say this to my white fellow Americans, that the bloodshed that is on its way is not on the hands of our fellow black Americans, but is on our hands. We are the ones that are refusing to let God's people go. We are the ones that are refusing to acknowledge that we do not value our black brothers and sisters as equal individuals or equal Americans as us white men. And to my black brothers and sisters, the racial issues, as I've said, have been there from the very foundation. But why do we see it more? Because there's a shifting. See, us white men have been at the head since the foundation. But we've had a black president. And you know, we've done everything in our power to keep him from really changing things. Now we have another minority rising to the top, a white female. What does that say? Those of us who are white men who have been at the head are now starting to see and fear that we are going to become the tail. And we know what we've done to you. And so now we're fearful that you're going to do to us what we have done to you. But I will say this. I've lived in a black community for 23 years. I've never been treated the way that this country has treated my black Americans. So I call out my white Americans to say we better heed, repent, acknowledge, and change. Because if we don't, I just want to again say this. The bloodshed that we will experience is on our hands, not the hands of our fellow black Americans. I welcome your comments. I welcome your feedback. Hit me up on Facebook or go to my webpage at www.studio2911.org. Again, that's studio2911.org. I don't necessarily know the answer, except for us white Americans need to repent, acknowledge the lies that we have taught, acknowledge our value system of equality. It is not here, and it does not include our black brothers and sisters. And we need to change, and we need to change now. Thanks for your time. Bless you.
You see this man out there? This man talks sense. You understand? He puts sense. For in own people, white people, them ahead. He's contributing his own. But what about we Africans? I just want to add my small conversation to attach with what he has said. One, we Africa didn't go to America by ourselves or to migrate there by ourselves. They came to us, say they want a business. Suddenly, it turns a fraud to kidnap us, to send us to America to work for them, to build America, and then to do what? To use us as slave, to rape our women. They rape our women. Black man, if you need peace, it's a black man or African who can hold peace. Now there's no more slavery, but there's a mental slavery to our Africa. See what he just gave them revelations in the Bible. Yeah. In the Quran also, there is one thing he says that if you hate someone, he's still going to rise. That's how it is. And it is true. He gave Pharaoh example. He used America as example. And now, me too, I'm giving my own example to my people. In Quran, when they are trying to bring Islam down, then it keep on increasing even till today. That's God's power, because he choose to someone. We don't choose for ourselves. Yet you killing us. You kill us. Every day you guys killing us. But there's no murder painful than this Floyd own. George Floyd. I feel it was me. It can be you that watching me. That's how it is. We have people, humanity. If you see someone is maltreating, or for example, when you are driving on a road on a high speed and you saw a car collision incident, you will stop your car and run for the person's help, because it can be you. You understand? It has a connection. Human has connecting to one another. That's how it is. But this police officer kneeling down on someone's neck, relaxing, enjoying, and yet you say it's good they arrest him. It's good they give him 3-degree what is the name? They say 3rd-degree murder and then manslaughter. I hope they don't listen. If the police officer, maybe it has been meant, or it's meant that the guy is going to die that day. Sorry and forgive me. I'm just giving my opinion. It has been meant, or it's meant that the guy is going to die that day. But if the police officer has lifted his knee from the neck, it can save the boy or the man. Do you understand? But yet we have a stupid people backing up this police officer. Where are the other 3 people? All of them, they assist the police officer to kill an innocent person, unarmed, plus they cuff him. You understand? It's really terrible. It's really terrible. Terrible. My people, thank you for watching me and try supporting me. Subscribe for me. If anything happens, we will come and share our opinion or our thoughts. So please subscribe for me and share. Babs TV, GH. I salute.